Hi kids, Teacher Gladys here with a new Power Station lesson. Before we begin, I'd love to just give you a huge virtual hug, missing all of you guys. Hope you're doing well with your families, praying for you certainly. This Sunday, March 29th, we're going to start a brand new Power Station series called Seek and Find. I think you're really going to like it. This lesson is our very last Shake It Up lesson, and we got a week behind because of the whole shelter in place situation, and I didn't want to skip this lesson because it's a really important event in Jesus's life and a really important teaching for his disciples and for us. Remember, during our Shake It Up series, we've got some mystery boxes that we're going to shake up, and we'll read a clue to see if we can discover what's inside the box. And the object in each box is going to help us learn the next part of God's big story. So let's pray and we'll get started. God, thank you so much for being with us and for being our teacher. We ask that you would clear our minds of any distraction and fill our ears and minds and hearts with the truth that you would want us to learn today. We love you, God. And all God's kids said, amen. Today's story comes from the book of John, the fourth book in the New Testament of the Bible, and the fourth of four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that tell all about Jesus's birth, life, death, and resurrection. So today's story, John chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. So in Jesus's last days, he and his disciples went to the city of Jerusalem for a huge celebration called Passover. Passover celebrates when God rescued the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. So it was a huge celebration. All of the people went to Jerusalem to celebrate this very special holiday. As part of their celebration, Jesus and his disciples did something very special. Let's see if mystery box number 1 helps us figure out what they were doing. I'm going to shake it up for you. Very claimy. Here's our clue. It says, it's chow time. That be? Oh, of course. Silverware. One night of the celebration, Jesus and his disciples shared a special Passover meal. It would be the very last supper that Jesus would eat before he died on the cross. During the middle of the meal, Jesus got up and he took a towel and he wrapped it around his waist. Then he took a pitcher of water and he poured water into a wash basin. Let's see if box number 2 helps us figure out what Jesus was doing. And the clue says, take a walk with me. A walk with me. Of course, it's a sandal. As Jesus knelt by the wash basin, he asked his disciples to take their sandals off so that he could wash their feet. Normally, when you went to a house in Jesus' day, your feet would be washed, usually by the lowest servant in the household, because washing feet was a really dirty job. But Jesus really wanted to do it himself. Can you imagine Jesus, the Son of God, washing 12 pairs of stinky feet? And, you know, in Jesus's time, it was an even grosser job than it might be today. Let's see if box number 3 helps us understand why. What is that? And our clue says, rhymes with shirt. Okay, rhymes with shirt. What could it be? Oh, it's dirt. Very dusty. Of course, in Jesus's time, they didn't have paved streets and sidewalks. The streets were made of dirt and probably even muddy too, because people would throw out their washing water, their cleaning water. So it would be muddy, there'd be garbage, there'd be animal droppings, you know what I'm talking about. And so really washing someone's feet was really a gross job. Of course, people wore sandals, no socks, so feet were just really, really dirty from walking in the streets. So Jesus didn't mind though. he wanted to wash his disciples' feet. And so he had them put their feet in the wash basin, and he took the water and he gently washed the dirt off of each of his disciples' feet. And then he took the towel around his waist and he dried their feet off. One of Jesus's disciples, Simon Peter, could not believe that Jesus was doing this task of a lowly servant and washing all of these stinky feet. So when it came time for his turn, here's what Peter said to Jesus. "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." And Jesus answered Peter, he said, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." Jesus then realized what Jesus was saying, and he agreed to allow Jesus to wash his feet. When Jesus was finished, he took off his towel and he gave his disciples a challenge. Let's see if box number 4 can help us understand what the challenge was. And our clue is, I've got a dry personality. It's a towel. Jesus said to them, "I am your teacher and Lord of all, yet I was willing to wash your feet. So you too should wash each other's feet. I have given you an example," Jesus said. "You should do to others as I have done to you." What a great story. Wow, Jesus is amazing. Got a picture of the story here for you of Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Now it's time for you to think about the story. You can read it if you'd like, John chapter 13, verses 1 to 17. And then I have a couple questions. You can talk them over with your family, or if you'd just like to think about them on your own and maybe jot down a couple of notes, answers to a couple of questions. That would be great. When you're finished, you can go on to part 2, the next video, and we'll wrap up the lesson. Here's the first questions. These are great for younger kids. What was your favorite part of the story? Try to put yourself in the story and imagine what it would look like, what the room would smell like, the food, the disciples' stinky feet, and just put yourself into the story and what would be your favorite part? The look on Jesus's face, the surprise when Peter said no. Think about each part of the story and try to figure out which was your favorite part. And then think about, why would Jesus want to wash his disciples' feet? And now these questions are good for older kids. What does the story teach you about Jesus? What is it saying is important to Jesus? What does he value? What does he want his disciples to learn? And then the next question, Jesus is Lord of all, and yet he was willing to wash his disciples' feet. What lesson do you think Jesus is asking us to learn? Go ahead, I'll give you guys some time to talk with your families. When you are ready to move on to the last part of the lesson, you can go to the next video.